So how many people advocate that now? Patrick Henry, Thomas Paine, where are they in the mainstream? They're not there. There's a few fringe wackos like me and a bunch of people I see here. But these people that get revered all across the country as being these great heroes of the American Revolution, the people who cheer for them do not believe what those men believed in. They believed in something called unalienable rights. That means you have a right to do something. If the law says you can't do it, you still have the right to do it. If the government says you can't do it, you still have the right to do it. Unalienable means nothing anyone in the world can do takes away your right to do that. Now they can infringe on that right, which they do on a regular basis. They can stomp on you and they can hurt you and they can punish you, but it will never be legitimate. And nobody should ever bow. Sorry, I hear thunder here. It's fake thunder, don't worry. That nobody should ever bow to someone who says, well, no, we had these elections and these processes and this and that and the other thing. Now I have the right to infringe on this and that and the other thing. Nothing gives them the right. That's what unalienable means. But Americans, by and large, do not believe that. Now, some people, every once in a while, will say, well, it was really oppressive back in 1776, and we're just not quite to that point yet. If 2 to 3% taxation justified a revolution in 1776, why doesn't 50% and growing justify a revolution? If a few little excise taxes on pieces of paper and tea justified open lawlessness from these rebels that we're all celebrating, why don't the myriad of incomprehensible, unavoidable, crushing taxes, state, local, and federal, why don't they justify a revolution today? If the occasional abuse of the colonists by the redcoats justified a revolution back then, why isn't it justified today by the fact that the vast majority of American law enforcement see no problem at all with randomly stopping you, detaining you, interrogating you, and searching you for any reason they like or no reason at all? If you read the Fourth Amendment, you realize, wow, they had a revolution over that. So where's the spirit? With all the flag waving and with all the celebrating, where are the people who actually believe in what happened right over there 233 years ago? What exactly are we proud of if we let that go? People talk about American pride. What is it they're proud of? That reminds me, somebody gave me a note here to read you. The guy's name was Samuel Adams. Yeah, the beer guy, but he did some other stuff too. If ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us in peace. We ask not your counsels or arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that ye were our countrymen. So what happened? Why did this nation lose its ability to say, you're not the boss of me? Even among people who say we're the most ardent supporters of freedom, if you say, are you willing to break the law? They say, no, I would never do that. In other words, you're ardent advocates of freedom as long as the tyrants give their permission. That's not being advocates of freedom. In Lexington, what happened when the troops said, lay down your guns? Did they say, can't we keep them pretty, please? Okay, here you go. No, they said no. Where are the Americans capable of saying no? I'm not talking about voting and whining to your congressman. I'm talking about resistance. And I know even hearing about this makes a lot of people very uncomfortable, because the American people do not believe what the Founding Fathers believed. The problem is we have been trained for years and years and years to measure our worth based on how well we obey authority. Not on how we treat other people, not on what we produce, on how well we obey authority. Consider the example of the phrase, law-abiding taxpayer. People use that constantly, and what they mean when they say, I'm a law-abiding taxpayer, is I'm a good person. Okay, but what does law-abiding taxpayer actually mean? Well, the law-abiding means you do what the politicians tell you. Now, as much as we revere the law, and we talk about those nasty lawbreakers and those great law-abiding citizens, and we talk as if the law is some proclamation from on high, we know who writes them. They're a bunch of liars and crooks. Does anybody not know that the politicians are a bunch of liars and crooks? So why is it that when they say you have to do this, you're not allowed to do that, we call it law and we bow to it like it came down from on high? It's the commands of crooks, but we have been trained to view it as the measure of whether we are good people. Let's consider a few examples. Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany had a whole lot of law-abiding taxpayers who went along with the agenda of the Third Reich and who funded it. Were they the good guys? Nope. The good guys in Nazi Germany were the criminals. The people who said, what you're doing is illegal. I will disobey your laws and I will not pay your taxes. Same thing under Stalin. Mao, Pol Pot, Castro, you can go right down the list. It's a really long list. The good people were not the people who were law-abiding taxpayers. The good people were the people who said, I am not going to help those people wearing the label of government to oppress and injure and murder my fellow man. If they call that law, I am proud to be a criminal. And as much as we revere the law, if you need politicians telling you what's right and wrong, something's horribly wrong. Here's a quote from Thomas Jefferson, because I just want to let you know, I'm not the first radical wacko to say these sorts of things. Rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within limits drawn around us by the equal rights of others. I do not add within the limits of the law, because law is often but the tyrant's will, and always so when it violates the rights of the individual. So what about right here? We can look at lots of other times, lots of other places and say, hooray for the people who broke the law. We can look back in this country's history when slavery was legal. Just as evil, but it was legal. Were the good guys the people who went along with it? Nope, the good guys broke the law. And we can see that in this country, in the past, and lots of other countries, present and past. What about this country today? Do we really want to tell ourselves that, well, no, it's not okay to resist now, among other things? When people feel this moral obligation to obey the law, and they speak it as if it's some proclamation from on high, what exactly is your moral obligation to work really hard so you can give thousands of dollars to Obama so he can give them to international bankers? Where is the moral obligation?
Nowhere.
Where is the moral obligation to fund whatever war any politician happens to say, hey, I bet if I do that it'll help my image? Why do we believe we have a moral obligation to obey whatever they call law? Here's a radical thought. You have a moral obligation to recognize and honor the rights of every individual on the planet, no matter what the law says.